Well, hi everyone, and welcome. Make sure you can hear me to the module 4 of the Winter GRA 2200, the second term or quarter term in winter 2026. I hope you're all doing well. We have a lot of ground to cover, and so I want to be quick about it, and I don't want to skip anything. So let's just sort of get to it. My name is Kim Grable, and I am your instructor. This is Module 4, as I said. We're talking specifically about, make sure you can hear me, about mobile first strategies. Um, you're going to essentially learn how to analyze web design, how to make it effective across multiple devices. That's responsive websites. You're going to develop a design system for a responsible website, design according to accessibility guidelines. We're not going to talk a lot about that today, but I would like you to read about it in the Blackboard uh, sections that give you kind of a tutorial, and I'll point it out to you. We're going to develop CSS style rules for mobile devices, and then we're going to develop prototypes. I don't know if I said that or not, but that's what we're going to do. You have 3 assignments this week. The first one is a volcano responsive site, and you're only going to do part 1, which is the HTML. Okay. However, I have done all 3. There are 3 parts, and I don't want you to necessarily just copy, um, but I do want you to be able to check your work and understand what makes, for instance, part 1 not responsive, but 2 and 3 will be. And basically, the answer is you're only building that site, that part 1, in HTML. So to get started with that, you're going to be building a mobile first site design in HTML. And of course, it's for a smartphone. Here are the sizes of the mobile devices to choose from. You can choose from any of these, including the iPad Pro, and of course the Google phone, the iPhone, the iPad, and the Google Nexus and the Google Pixel. I don't have an Android phone, but I assume that will take care of the Android setup. This gives you kind of a view of what you're about to be building. And again, you're working primarily in HTML this week. And then next week, you'll build the last 2. Uh, Again, I have them for you and I can link them to you. Um, in fact, you'll see all 3 this week when you look at the links. If you use Dreamweaver, that's great. You might want to consider working in vertical split mode, making the live panel smaller. Dreamweaver also has a pop-up menu of different device sizes, and it allows you to select between portrait and landscape. And you can hear I still have a bit of a weirdness with my speech. Um, I had fairly major surgery. Did I tell you this? I had a tumor under my ear and kind of across my jaw. lower jaw, and it was larger than they anticipated. Long story short, they had to sever the primary nerve to my one of my eyes, which is really nice, and to uh, my mouth area on just on one side. And I start physical therapy tomorrow to get this nerve to essentially respond to the he meaning the surgeon. There were two actually, and they had to sew together little pieces of another nerve to kind of splice it all together. Sounds like a I don't know, something you'd do in a car, you know, in a motor or something. But nonetheless, you will still hear that sort of weird, the V's and the P's and those kinds of letters are still a little tricky. So I'm perfectly fine and sober and wonderful and not that well rested, but who among us is? So I wanted to clear that up. Someone had made a comment or asked me a question, and I wanted to respond. If one person has a question, then maybe someone else does. Now, you can also use something other than Dreamweaver if you like. Again, a lot of students don't like to use Dreamweaver. It's completely up to you. If you want to use the Visual Studio Code, you can click right here and you can download it. This says for the OS, but you can also download pretty easily to the PC as well. Here you'll see the links for Volcano 2 and 3. Um, Let me show you these real quick. Here's Volcano. Really, this could be Volcano 1 very easily by, and this is CodePen, by the way. I really like CodePen, I know. A lot of people I found you either love it or hate it. But the part one is essentially going in, copying the HTML, and you've got your part one essentially. And you'll find that out whether you use the Visual Code, Studio Code, or Dreamweaver. Now, in the second volcano, you've got some CSS to deal with, which means there's going to be some responsiveness, perhaps color and fonts and, that kind of thing. Don't expect your links. They do respond and they should respond, but they do not work. So if you're getting frustrated trying to get them to work, don't, because they won't work. There's nothing to link it with. This is just a sort of a made up problem for you to practice responsiveness. And then let's see, you can also go to link 3, and it looks uh, very, very similar to link 2. And again, you're working with dead links or they're responding links, but there's nothing there for you to go to. And the other thing you're working with is Greeking or the lorem ipsum type. So don't worry about that as well. So again, let me show you where this is. It's in the presentation for Mod 4, and it's also linked to notes in your Mod 4 folder. There's a lot of information in there this week, so try to take a good look at it, and you'll probably want to take some things out of it. I've got two setups for either the Galga, however you say it, drive-in, or I've got something, oh, the drive-in in another way, and I've got the book. I'm going to go through and show you the bookshop that you're going to be doing and show you how to prototype it. So, so let's move on before I run over time. Usability, accessibility, and prototypes with XD. What is a prototype? It's a way to show a client user experience. It's very much like this little drawing here. See if I can make it a little larger. It's not real good, but this will give you an overview if you want to zoom and look at it on your own. I wonder if I could zoom. Let me see. I don't think I can when it's a recorded or when it's a shared document. But you might want to just take a look at this. Also, in the module folder, you're going to find some UI kits. And these are little things that you might or might not want to use on a website, like oh, buttons, social media icons, that kind of thing that you don't want to have to build. They do exist on what's commonly called a UI kit. And I've put in, I think, a couple of those in that module 4 folder. The user experience is extremely important because why would that be important? Because if your client wants their potential uh, customers and their existing customers to continue to come and see the website, interact, make purchases, that kind of thing, then the user has to have a positive experience. It doesn't have to necessarily be an exciting experience or a invigorating experience. If you're buying things on Amazon or Walmart or Target, um, you're just there to buy paper towels and socks and, maybe a pair of shoes to knock around in, uh, whatever it happens to be. Oh, dog food. Don't forget dog food. And Lord, cat food. I actually buy my cat food I think it's Chewy because, when you're going to spend a fortune on 5 cats, well, you want one of those cool boxes to, you know, to carry your stuff in. So, anyway, um, but that's what I look for and you look for in whatever website you go to, is you want a good experience. You don't want to be tricked. You don't want to have a whole lot of like blind, here is a trial period. For 30 days, you don't have to pay a dime to get into Walmart. But after 30 days, we'll charge you $10 a month or whatever it is. And those are not what I would call pleasant surprises. But there are ways you can introduce them far enough in advance to your customers where they'll go, oh, okay, I guess I'm sort of stuck and I really want this, so I will pay the whatever, the $10 or whatever. Um, I'm going to go through the prototypes and literally show you them in XD, but you also have a little, I think this is like 4 or 5 minutes, and it's really good and easy to follow how to make prototypes in Adobe XD. It's very good. So I recommend you watch it regardless of what you do with what I show you. This is the book, um, I guess you'd call it the book site or the responsive site that you're building for the Santa Rosa Bookshop. And I want to show you, I'm going to show, this is how I'm going to prototype, is with this. So I'll show you in XD, of course, how to build an interactive prototype. You also have the actual XD file in the Module 4 folder. That does not mean you can just go, oh, okay, I'll just copy that. Maybe change the red to green or something. No. You're going to see that you've got quite a bit to figure out on your own, including a pleasing design. And when you're doing or changing different aspects of a page, you don't want to have to go in and recreate these every single time. That's what the UI kits are for. Also, you've got everything you possibly could use or need on the the XD file that I created in XD, the high fidelity wireframe, and I prototyped it. Now, um, again, I want this to be your design. This is here to help you. When I've taught this class in the past, and I have, um, the worst job with this layout is um, interactivity, yes, responsiveness, yes, but primarily you meaning the student, you don't really bother to design it. You just kind of slap it all together and you're not conscious of what you're doing here with type. Uh, the first thing I'm going to say to you, and I'm sure other professors have said this, is if you can't read this thing, nobody's going to look at it. Nobody, nobody, nobody. And that's on a poster, on a website, on an album cover, a book, and a book cover, and of course, advertisements of all kinds. So keep that in mind, and we'll come back to this when we're doing the prototype. In fact, I think we're about to start. But let me just tell you what you're creating first. The second assignment this week is creating part of a high fidelity website, mobile first. You're not creating for a tablet, for a desktop computer, or for a laptop as well. Nope, just the mobile device. And this is considered to be an interactive prototype, which means it will have interactivity built into it. And I'll show you how we do this. You should be able to move between your pages interactively, scroll a page to see more content, view a slideshow on one page, hopefully, possibly. And I'm going to show you again. Why do I keep telling you that? Your client is Bookshop Santa Casa. It's an independent bookstore in California, which means the client has probably spent a small fortune collecting books and keeping a higher level of clientele. He wants a very stylish and functional mobile first design or page. You're working to create that redesign of a few pages for this client. I said he, but it's actually a woman. She's provided written and visual content for you to work with. You've been asked to create 3 total interactive pages. First of all, the index page or the landing page. The home page uh, is also called the index or the landing page. The top picks page, which will feature 3 books, and you'll get all the copy for this. An hour story page. Now, the page, let me back up a bit. The top picks page needs to scroll. When you focus on 3 books, a nonfiction and 2 novels, it's obviously going to take more room than one small page. So that page will scroll. The story page doesn't necessarily have to scroll, but it will be where you're going to place your 3-image slideshow. It does not need to be timed, but the images should loop from 1 to 2 to 3 and back. Okay? And of course, you've got 3 images that the client has provided. You also have 2 other areas that will appear on your navigation bar or in your menu selection. One is Browse and one is Events. It should, again, have a place on the nav bar or the menu, but it does not need to be interactive or working for this particular demonstration or demo. The client hates the hamburger menu, and so do I, but would settle for a button labeled Menu that displays the 5 pages as some sort of overlay. The menu button should be present on all pages and working to navigate to the 3 example page. Okay? We're staying together here? Your size is 9 to 16 portrait format. You can choose any of the iPhone 6, 7, 8 or the Android mobile. Okay? You've got all your written content, excuse me. So how do you do this? And I'm about to show you, but I want to kind of talk you through it and show you if you want to come back to this later and practice, or when you're ready to sit down and try it. These are the steps you will take to build your website with prototyping. You set up your artboards first, and your preset is what you're designing, what kind of phone or whatever. Your first artboard should be home, and then you're going to add a title, text, button for view details, that kind of thing. Duplicate the artboard, Control or Command D, and I'm not going to read all of this. After you get your artboard set up, then you switch to prototype mode, and I'll show you where it is. Create an interaction. So on the home artboard, select the button you want users to tap, like View Details. You'll see a blue arrow handle up here to the right, and then you just click and drag to the Details artboard. And again, I'll show you all this. Uh, you're going to have a back interaction, meaning once you get to the Details artboard or the place on that artboard, you want a back button. You don't want to get stuck. Preview your prototype. Click the desktop preview and you can play it. There'll be a little arrow for you to play. And then if you want to record what you've already done, prototype-wise, you can press the record button and it'll capture what you've done as an MP4. Other steps to explore is auto animate. I'll show you that. Transition is built in as well. Adding different triggers like time if you want it to, to be what it's doing or go to a certain area for zero point 0.4 seconds. You'll note that. How to auto advance after a delay, like drag for carousels, hover, and voice. Okay? You'll create multiple flows with different home artboards for different user journeys. Okay? And I'll show you. That sounds weird, but I'll show you once we get onto the actual XD and all the artboards. Okay, so one more thing I want to kind of throw out there so you'll know it. Um, you can copy a photo directly into XD. You can drag and drop. That's the easiest way. And then you can resize it. Uh, be sure that it's an image format and that it's not stretched and out of proportion, because that makes me crazy, and your it could make your I was just looking at the charge, and it will make your client crazy as well. Um, so you can drag and drop. You can go to File, Import to get a photo, or you can copy and paste from another application. Okay? Okay, and then finally, I want to make sure you know what a component is. And please, when you look at this, zoom up on it so you'll understand. But a component in XD is a reusable group of elements like shapes, text, images that you design once and then use them many times as consistent linked copies in your project. For instance, a simple diagram idea. You'll have the main component or the diagram, and like say this or even this. Now you may have different views of that diagram, but essentially the shape will stay the same. So you can use this as a component and just change the size of the bars or the color of the bars, text, whatever it needs to be changed. Um, your main component is also called your master if you're going to be using it in a lot of places. You can do text diagrams. You can sketch it on paper and a whiteboard, and you can even put it in, if you want to, into XD. Arrows is another big instance of a main component. You draw or you create the arrows once, and then you apply them with different colors or maybe corner radiuses. All the instances will automatically update unless you specifically override that instance or you name it something other than the main component. Components are mysterious as far as students are concerned because they don't know what to do with them. But it's really sort of like not a placeholder, but let's say you're going to draw this button or create this button or get it from a UI kit, and that's going to be your button component. And it's sort of round and it's got a center and it's, blah, blah, blah. Now, in certain instances, you want that button to be blue. In other instances, red, green, whatever. It's all determining, or it's determinant upon the design. Okay? So it's nothing to do necessarily with prototyping or anything, but it does have to do with design. So let's get out of this. I probably talked way too fast, and I'm so sorry. Let's close. No, we don't want to. No, no, no. Stay there. Sorry about that. Let's move down. Okay, and I wonder if I'm going to have enough. Yeah, I think I will. Okay, here is what I put together for you. This is I did this a couple of years ago, um, for when I first started teaching this class. Um, the first thing is let's make everything a lot larger so we can kind of see what's going on. And if you don't feel where everything is, hit the minus button and it'll show you in this big uh, work area. That's how big your little tiny mobile first files are. Okay. Now, if you want to move, it's easy. You just hold the track bar or the um, whatever you want it to be, your mouse, whatever. You can also just hold this, the I'm worried about that battery. I may have to plug the sucker in. Um, you can use the plus and the minus. It's very easy to use. If you use the trackball or the mouse, you can move by touching uh, either the mouse on your pad, your mouse pad, or your trackball or trackpad. If you hit it, it will begin to zoom. All right, so let's stop that. It's in that zoom mood, I guess. It's like the cats. They get zoomy at times. Excuse me. Okay, here we go. I just put this in simply because all we had was just a gray area for this landing page. Now, is this the landing page or is this the menu page? I would call this the menu page. And I want you also to notice we are still in design mode, okay? So let's look at all of this. These are or can be links. We could definitely build our navigation through links to these little menu sections. Here's the name of the bookshop. And this golden looking photo is very nice, but it may not fit with this. And let me zoom again, move you up and there we go. Before you just lock things down, and I tend to do that because I get really frustrated, but give it a little time and see if it will work better if you just like grab everything, or you can build groups, and the group is Command or Control G. So this is a very professional looking photo, and it's technically the inside of the bookstore looking out. And then you get here, and this is a pretty awful photo if you look at it. You could take your photos into Photoshop and work on them, clean them up, but I don't know that I would do that. Look how blurry it is. It's not a high-res image, and I don't think it was ever a high-res image, so don't worry too much about that. If this doesn't fit, and it feels like to me, unless you change these color bars, this won't fit too well. So you might want to look for something else or take a photo like this and take it through Photoshop and change maybe to a green or something that will complement the red a little better. The other thing I want to show you before I show you prototyping is, um, let's zoom really tight. I want you to see how this type is handled. It's not just slapped on. And this is seriously, this is the biggest problem I have with this assignment is you don't set your type or you don't anticipate how your type needs to look. You just sort of slap it on. And you also, for some reason, most of you center all your body copy. No, 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 no. Don't do that. You can add a guide, but you need to have it left justified your body copy. Rag right. You see what a rag is? I let it end wherever I want to. Now, if you have to do some editing, maybe you see a typo or something, then let's go over here. There's your text. Like this, there's too much space here. So I'm going to close that up a little bit. You might zoom out and realize that this type down here is too small. You might want to do something else. Um, the other thing that I think about this particular page, first of all, here's your home page. Your menu will be most likely going to be uh, overlaid with this file. Or you're just going to take these, let me grab the selection. You're just going to take these titles and somehow work them in to the top of here. Maybe you take them as a piece of the photo up here. And maybe you don't, with that, maybe you don't even need this right here anyway. You do need it here, the menu button, because if you're way over here and you want to go back and open a different page, of course, you're going to need a menu bar. What else did I want to tell you about this? I just kind of put this one together. You see all of this up here and this and this. That's on a UI kit. It's also right here. So if you want to just take it, you may. I don't lock any of this stuff down or anything. Again, I don't want you to just go, all right, this is easy. Um, I hope to make it easier for you, but I don't want you to just take my design. It's not really my best design, but it will get you where you need to go. All right, one more thing, and what was it? If you want to dress things up, definitely use the UI kits and take a look at them. And they will have better looking uh, buttons, that kind of thing. The other thing I think is if you're going to end the copy here, then I think this ends too far down the page on every page. Now, you may have to change your line spacing, something like that. But I think it's worth it to have nice, clean, very, very easy to read text. Um, and if you don't know what the font is, you can go over here. If you don't have the font, excuse me, um, you can probably download it easy or just change it to a similar Droid Sans is almost identical to Open Sans. Okay. The other thing is, so I think you might want to change, because look down here, you've got all kinds of text just sort of hanging out here, and that's not really what you want, you know? You want all the text to be readable, legible, and Also, do not allow a widow. Do you know what widows are? They are like the end of a paragraph, one, like one word. It looks bad. It looks tacky. This looks bad, and it's not really officially a widow. This little slug right here. So you have to be careful and, you know, be very aware of what's going on. Now, if you have additional type and you don't want to set it, then push your type up. I mean the type box, and close it because no one's going to sit and read all of this. We're talking about design now and not actual, this is not an actual job. But you notice the copy is really, it's pretty, uh, it just looks great. It's clean, it's easy to read. This is a little funky, this photo. You might want to change the photo and make it uh, vertical like the others. However, this is probably the cover of the book, so I would be less than excited about changing something that's already copyrighted. What else do I need to tell you? I think that's about it. So let's get to prototyping. Let's go up here and switch to prototyping. And we're going to get rid of what I had marked. All right, there's a couple of things here. Do you see this right here? Let me zoom on it a bit. This indicates this, stop it, is the home page. Okay, so you're going to have to, this can be just a, like a splash page or a landing page. It's your big, wonderful, beautiful page. Okay. Um, Now, if you want, as people come in and they first look at this, if you want them to go to certain areas, then you see that there's our story. Well, our story goes right here. And when you place a link, okay, for instance, our story, and you go right here on a tap. Did you see that tab come up? Here's top picks. I go here. Now, one thing that you have to understand about uh, prototyping is that um, it's not exact. When you want it to start right here or right here, it's just going to go to where it thinks you want it to go. If you don't like the link, then just pull it off and it will essentially just stop being a link. These two do not have links, so you're going to be dealing with top picks, our story, and there's our story, and welcome. Now, why is welcome way over here? Because it's wrong, right? So if you want to drop that off, you can. Or as you can see, our story is working fine. So let's redo welcome to here. There it goes. Our story looks good. Top picks. Let's see where it is. It looks pretty good. And um, this is from welcome, so it's working fine. Uh, so you see what we're doing here, right? We're linking page by page by page. Now let me show you this really quick, and then I probably will just go ahead and play that video. It's like 3 or 4 minutes. Your trigger is basically what makes you switch pages. And let me show you what you have. You can drag, you can drag an item. This, by the way, is your carousel. That's why you have 3 pages. Feel free to take that as well if you like. You also have keys and gamepad. I wouldn't try that yet. And voice, ugh, I wouldn't use that ever. I would use tap or drag right now. That's for your actual interaction. Your action is all kinds of different things. Right now, you can just leave it on transition. And if you want it to preserve the scroll position, like down in this area, you click this link or this box. Otherwise, no. So your transition, let's say your destination is the home page, but you also have other places. You can go to Our Story and, of course, Top Picks. Okay? Your animation, you don't have to have a dissolve or a slide up and down or left and right. A slide just means this page will slide on top of that page, or this page will slide back on this page. A push is this page will, when it's transitioning, will just push this page out of the way and you won't see it. The best probably to use is a dissolve because it looks very professional, but be really careful. You don't want long dissolves. I would do zero point 0.4 as your most or your longest dissolve. 0.4 seconds. I'm having trouble making it listen and work. There we go. All right. Now, do you know what easing? Easing in and out. Easing is basically when you leave, like from point A or a page to a second page. When you leave, easing out means you leave kind of quickly and then you slow down. Easing in is just the opposite. And you really need kind of an easing in out. Let's see what you got here. This is for audio. Uh, so we will build this when we're running out of time. Let me look. So let me play that for you just really quick. He's just going to sort of say the same things I have or I am. If you want to see how things work, you uh, click and it will show you. We haven't put any real, transition except just transition. So we could do an auto animate. Let's go back and top picks, not much there. Let's look at, let's stay with this. Okay, you need to go back. We haven't sit back yet or anything. We're kind of slow on time or we're running out. So Um, this is what you'll see when you push this button. You'll actually see the interface or the interaction in this particular piece. And of course, you're going to do a lot more than this. Um, when we meet next time, I will have the Gauga drive-in uh, completely prototyped. This will probably be prototyped. No, because this is due this week. But the Gauga and I think there's one other version of the Gauga site that I'm going to prototype for you, so you'll have an understanding of it. And then the share really quickly is you've got it all prototyped. Now you want someone to look at it essentially, and it's a video. You can even talk through the video and just say, okay, when I click on welcome, then this transitions with an ease. an ease out, or you know what I'm saying? Something like that. All right, so I apologize for rushing through this, but you will get more later. In fact, I may go ahead and post the Gauga drive-in prototype that I think I've already finished it. I may go ahead and just post it for you, and you can play around with it. And I think it might help, you know. All right, so let me go back, if I can find it, to the presentation. Where are you? Let's see. Let's move you. Let's just get you to shut and shut. And I think I closed it already. All right, so this is the preview. Yep. All right. What I would recommend, yeah, we gotta go. What I would recommend is you watch that little video. And if it doesn't make sense, or if you still have issues with it, then send me a message. You know you can text me or you can message me, and you, of course, can email me. You're going to catch me faster with a text or a message. I check messages twice a day, and I check my texts even more often than that. So if you have any questions at all, just reach out to me, and I'll be happy to help you. Okay, and I'll probably go ahead and do or put in the Gauga drive-in prototype because it's got some nice little animations that I did. Um, but go back in the presentation and take a look at that little film. It's like a 4-minute video that Adobe produces. And I think it might really answer some questions for you. So that's all I have. Uh, that's it. So I will talk with you soon. Remember, it'll be ready tonight. This is Monday night. You'll have it from Tuesday till the weekend, of course. We have a live meeting Monday, this is Monday, Friday at noon, and I'll send you a link for that meeting. If you can make it, great. If you can't, it's okay. But do please watch the video, unless you're sitting here live, which you're not. So, thank you again, and we will talk soon. Take care.